Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 360 Stacks in his thing, baby, representing TKOG. Today I'm going to be showing you guys my list for Sky Strikers. So this is like a lot of experimentation, and this is me testing the new support. I need these cards out like yesterday, bro. Honestly, this deck is getting so much more gas, and it's getting cards that are kind of niche, but also like give it capabilities that it didn't already have. So it felt a little bit redundant at first in the beginning when I was looking at the cards, like, what does it like do? What do these do that the deck can already do? But then like it got a lot more like it has a higher consistency boost, but then it also like has a lot more ways to play through disruptions like never before. Like one Ray can really trade with like 3 or 4 cards now, like easily. It's actually kind of crazy. Like this deck is really powerful against hand traps specifically, and a lot of board breakers are like gonna be, you can mitigate somewhat like the board breakers post siding by like playing a healthy amount of hand traps and throwing in like your turn skips like D barrier, different dimension ground, etc. Mistaken arrest. I think the deck is well positioned as a mid-range deck. I don't think it's the best deck ever, but I do think it's like one of the best decks. I think it's like just of all time. Like I think it's like a really strong deck. It's one of my favorites. Like it's one of my good old faithfuls. It never really does me wrong. I can always count on it. It's just solid. It's well-rounded. Like through and through, there's not really very many like overwhelming strengths that the deck has, but it also has so much coverage. And in a widespread format where it's just really, it's a gamble, trying to like understand like what you're gonna have, like what you're gonna have, and you're expecting like what matchups you're gonna see the most. Like the most prevalent matchups obviously don't matter as much as opposed to like your worst matchup. And if like you're building your deck and you know what your worst matchup is, like that's what you want to prepare for. But like Sky Striker doesn't really have like a bad matchup per se. It's just like not been the most well positioned deck for the past few formats. Representation obviously dictates a lot, but like the deck kind of has like a weird ceiling and no floor. It has like really high highs and then really low lows. But like the deck performs extremely well, but then you just don't draw any striker cards. Like you draw no way to Ray, and like you can't really like play at all. So like I built the deck to like just never break, because like as long as I draw a way to Ray and like 1 or 2 striker cards, I feel like I can trade with any board, and there's nothing unbreakable for this deck specifically. Like there's other archetypes out there, I'm sure, like that are gonna struggle with like the quote unquote unbreakable board, but like Sky Striker actually is like, it has the tools at its disposal, and it's like well equipped to play through a lot of disruptions to break some of the most impermeable boards. So yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about it. If you guys like this kind of content, subscribe, bro. It's free. It helps me a lot. Supporting the channel goes a very long way. And leave a like if you like the video. Let me know how I'm doing, you guys. We have the Patreon set up. We have the Discord set up. We also have YouTube channel memberships pop in. Like, bro, I just got this new game room situated. Like my baby boo, she really blessed me. She bought me a new desk. Like I got a new microphone. I'm getting like all this new equipment so that the videos can like really be pushed to the upper echelon on quality. And I'm gonna start streaming, but like I really gotta know that my people are here for it, and then I'll do it. So let's go. As far as engine, like these are all pretty much starters. Like even Thrust, because like I always blind second in strikers. I ain't never been scared. So Thrust is just like 3 more engages, to be honest. I don't really Thrust for anything else. Like there's no better card. Like Tactics is cool too, but like engages your whole deck, engages a toolbox in and of itself. So it does everything that a Mind Control or a Feather Storm, like a Feather Duster, like all those weird one-off techs you'd play in Thrust, you don't need them, because like engage is another Thrust, if it makes sense. It's a really impactful card, super powerful. You guys know this deck really doesn't have hard ones at all. Like in a lot of its text, there's like barely any hard ones returns. 3 linkage. The card's absurd. It dodges so much. It plays through so much. It enables OTKs like super efficiently. We have 3 Rays. I always am on 3 rows. Like I don't even mind opening Ray Rose. Ray Rose is actually really nice. It trades well. Like your normal summon is such a huge choke point, and it's nice to be able to pivot your cards in different directions to be able to give yourself coverage through like a lot of different spot removals and negations, and like the Bystials too. This card, I don't know when it's coming out, and their graveyard effect comes up a lot, like honestly, and especially like in this format in particular. Like Rose comes up a lot, but even with Nib, like Rose comes up a lot. The Pillar of the Future, we're just gonna call this Sky Striker Rose number 2. This card is actually really good in this list. It's actually super duper powerful. It essentially is a 1.5 card link 3. Its net value is worth 3 link materials, and it's going to bring out cards that are going to trade with your opponent's board, like Camellia or Zeke or Azalea, because again, it's 2 light and or dark monsters, so you can actually use both these lights to go. It makes everything. It makes your whole deck. It climbs right up into this, for example. And it just helps you to get access to the Link 4 faster. I don't know when these cards are coming out. I want them now. I want them right now. But this card's really phenomenal. It's actually really, really good. It gives you so much more tempo, and like it allows you to go aggro a lot quicker. And it gives you more routes, like just to secure the bag for game. I'm going like pure. I'm literally playing no utility cards, no Therions, no Brave stuff, just all Striker. The engine's strong enough. It has too much gas in the tank, and like honestly, it's. I'm just curious, like, what exactly, like, when all these cards come out, bro, like, what exactly is going to be holding this deck back, you know? We have the 1 Rhoda, we have the 1 Hornet Drones. Field Spell still counts as a starter. And believe it or not, like, Multi-Roll's crazy, bro. This card always gets interacted with. The moment you activate it, if your opponent has a card that can remove this, they're going to use it. So it literally is like, it's almost like a +1, because it's going to trade multiple times, and it doesn't even matter sometimes, like, whether you resolve Multi-Roll's protection to deny your opponent from interacting with your spells. When you've like made your opponent interact with Multi-Roll so many times that their interactions are depleted, and there's not very much they have left except maybe the unknown, the non-engine, the hand traps, which this deck eats. Like, Sky Strikers don't really lose specifically to hand traps unless like it's literally like activate engage, they ask you and you have nothing else. So we have 3 Widow. I'm always a huge advocate of Double Shark. I'm actually debating on bumping this to 3 this format. It's crazy. I've been going crazy taking people's Barons left and right. I've been enjoying it a lot, bro. This card's insane. Like, it's super crazy. It's also even really, really clutch taking Dispatters. So I love this card. It's phenomenal. I've always been a huge advocate of 2 Afterburners as well. This is something that's like a sweet spot. I've been messing with it. It allowed me to consolidate ratios, and it's mainly just like for extra deck maintenance, and so that this deck can like go infinite. Like, because I have been outgrinded, unfortunately, like with my extra deck, like running out of the really, really strong Striker cards, and like not having the luxury or space to play 3, and like it's a consolidation thing. Yes, it is technically a brick. Yeah, it has some cool, cute interactions with like this and Kagari, but it's mostly here just so that you can infinitely recycle your extra deck. The draws are nice. We have 1 Talents, and we're just on 3 Ash, 3 Nib, 3 Imperm, and then this is just like for Pearly, honestly. Mostly for Pearly. And just like stuff that can be targeted or destroyed, it's a lot easier to just kaiju it. So again, the deck has a huge arsenal. Sky Striker's like toolbox is super diverse and expansive, and it's widespread, and it's really a safe choice in formats like this, where like you can just play one of the best decks. But then, like, if you are having decision anxiety and you're over preparing yourself for too much, and you're realizing that you can't allocate enough slots in your, whether it's your main or your side, to give yourself the coverage that you feel you need, this deck, its main deck, is a side deck. So yeah. Now, for the extra deck, I like 3 Kagari, 3 Shiz. Shiz and Hayate are debatably able to be cut down, but like, you really need the second Hayate and the third Shiz, like when you're still trying to like play. Once you're established and you have multi-rolls going, it's a different story, but sometimes the first 2 Shizes actually don't resolve and you're playing so uphill, you know? Like, and this deck can, like, Striker can play so uphill, and it's like it has the luxury and comfort to like sit back and wait when a lot of decks can't do that. This deck plays really, really good defense, and it like has so many cards that can play keep away that like you are able to buy yourself so many extra turns where other decks can't really do that efficiently without like hand traps. But, like, Striker's engine itself is like really, really good, and like drawing hand traps off of your engage is like insane. So like the third one's necessary, second one's necessary. Camellia, if you guys didn't know what this card does, it's broken. It's broken. So you can only special summon it once, like most of the cards. If you have 3 or less spells in your grave, you can send a Striker card from your deck to your grave. If this card's sent to the grave, you can target a monster your opponent controls. Special this card to their field, and if you do, send that monster to the grave, and then shift control of this card, like, to this card's owner during the end phase. So like you basically clear their card for no reason, put Camellia on their field, which like gives you even more coverage against certain blowouts, and then it comes back to you anyways. And you can do it every turn, which is really, really dope. And how you can efficiently like continually use this card's effect if you really just want to be greedy is just like maintenance with cards like Multi-Roll and Kagari. But often this card is a Hayate that you don't have to attack with, which means like Hayate can trade more, which Hayate often does, because like Kagari sometimes doesn't even have the same value unless Hayate can resolve. Like this is a card you can resolve turn 1 without even like going second, and you can immediately just dump Engage, go into Kagari, add your Engage back, and like it will actually be a threat in the graveyard. Like it's like a lingering threat, and it layers your disruptions as well. So it's really good. Zeke and Azalea, like these cards are powerhouses. Kind of is really good. You know, one's in time as well. That's cool. Azalea, this card is like kind of gross. Like they just have so much spot removal and like so much keep away that this deck is naturally, in my opinion, it's just meant to go to second. Like honestly, it's more consistent, it's more efficient, and its cards do more going second. And yeah, it's crazy. Like there's no deck you fear that you're like, oh, I can't afford to go second. Spectra, so we don't know exactly when this card's coming out. Merry Christmas, by the way, you guys. I should have been said that. But what we do know is that like strikers now have also an Omni Negation, and this card's very unique. Whenever your opponent activates a card or effect, as my ears are like getting stuffy, as Channeling 2 or higher, you actually banish 2 spells from your hand or grave, negate that effect, then pop a card your opponent controls, which is really, really neat. So what happens is like this card doesn't directly negate what your opponent does, but like because of the nature of how this deck is piloted and how you are able to like construct your plays, it basically just says like you can't respond indirectly. And like yeah, they can respond to this, but like that's the whole premise of this card. Like the whole preface of this card is like not necessarily to negate your opponent's cards and prevent them from playing, it's to allow you to play. So it's really, really, really good. And strikers didn't have a card like this, and they didn't really have solid options going first. But now the deck is able to do it all, and it kind of already did do it all. It felt like striker was always one of those decks where like the only thing holding it back really was the pilot. A lot of the times for me, I felt like it's just this deck needs a good pilot. It's a good deck. It really, really is a good deck. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. God bless you. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content. Deuces as well, yo.